Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arnis Westinese. I am so happy we'll share, learn, and discuss together with you about any kind of knowledge related with advanced assessment in English language teaching. Our topic today is developing language tests, non-tests, especially how the state to develop language tests. Talking about developing a language test, we know that making a test is a very complex process, and it is in fact construction more than just a simple step. Now, I want to invite you to get better understanding about developing a language test. Developing a language test is the process of making and using tests. It is supported by Lily N. F. Bassman and Adrian S. Plemer that stated, test development is the process of making and using tests, starting with the conceptualization, design, and result of their use. And what about the purpose of language tests? There are many opinions from the expert that we can discuss more about this topic. Glenn Fulcher, professor of applied linguistics and language assessment, and Fred Davidson, who has interested to language testing and psychological assessment, stated that the purpose of language tests is to determine a person's knowledge and ability in that language, and to distinguish that person's ability, such as various type, achievement, skill, or talents. To make it simple, the purpose of developing a language test, it produces test specification, which can be used to determine a person's ability or knowledge. And now, what about the content of developed language tests? Related with the content, consider about production. We can see production is the result of developing tests or the final draft. It is related with the product of the test, the subject, the level, the objective of the subject, appropriate or not. The second one is development. In case with how to develop the test, related with the test objective, the material, the test format, scoring, or grading. And the last one, the content of developing a language test is about analysis. Analysis of the test. Analysis of the test, it can be consisted of the drive of the test, the expert validation, tryout of the test, validity and reliability analysis, item difficulty, and item discrimination. Now we come to stages of developing a language test. There will be 3 theories from the expert that we will explain to you now. The first is according to Hillsroot, 2011. In the testing development process, there are 3 important phases, namely planning, design, and testing, and 1 phase, informing stakeholders, that may be needed in some context to inform others about new testing. The second one, according to Lily F. Bassman and Adrian S. Plemer, there are 3 important stages, namely design, operationalization, and administration. Furthermore, the third, according to Language Policy Division Council of Europe, there are 5 stages of test development process, including developing the test, assembling tests, delivering tests, marking, grading, and reporting of result. Maybe you want to ask, which one is better? Which one is the best? In this case, all of the opinions are correct. Therefore, related to the stages in the development of the test, the combination of all the theories in the test development process will be discussed now. Well, now we will talk about 3 essential stages in developing language tests. There will be 3 essential process. The first is decision to provide a test. The second one is test development. And the third is test use. Decision to provide a test is the entire process of creating and using a test, beginning with a decision to provide a test. Decision may be made by the test provider. It can be a teacher, headmaster, minister, or maybe someone else, such as a teacher, a headmaster, or minister. The next stage is test development, following by test use, and my friend will explain to you. Thank you.
The next explanation will be explained by me, Ananda Dewi Lestari. After we have known about the definition, purpose, content, and also the decision to provide a test, the next stage is test development, which focus on the pace of the test development itself. The aim of the test development is to produce test specification which can be used to construct live tests. Why need to develop the test? It is began when a person or organization need to meet the need of special group of taker, sample behaviors from a newly defined test domain, improve the accuracy of test scores for their intended purpose, or tests need to be revised. Here are 3 necessary phases in the test development includes planning, design, and tryout, and 1 phase informing stakeholders that may be necessary in some contexts. The first phase is planning. This stage is aimed at creating a design and gather information for use at a later phase. Having a good planning will help the developer to increase accountability such as the ability to say what was done and why, increase a sense of satisfaction with the process and results, and minimize the errors that occur. In this stage, the developer can get some information through some questions which can help the developer to develop their test. The first question is, what are the characteristics of test takers to be tested? For example, for elementary students, for high school students, or students of university. The second question is, what is the purpose of this test? For example, speaking test for knowing the student's ability in speaking, or middle test for knowing the student's knowledge during the middle semester. Third, how is the test related to the educational context? Fourth, what standards are needed for the proposed purpose? For example, after learning about narrative text, the students are able to write down about their story in a holiday. Fifth, how will the test results be used? It refers to assessment system or test analysis. This kind of answer and questions will help the developer to define the language ability to be tested, to decide how to set cut and set off points to make decisions, and how to present and explain the results. The next phase is design. In this stage, the information from planning will be the starting point for the design phase. And the stage of components of the test design are explained in detail. This starts with the information gathered about the background and test requirements, such as the purpose of the test taker's characteristics, and the required ability level. The detailed description of the test design. First, the focus of tests. Second, what is to be tested, for example, skills, competencies, and strategies. Third, text sources. Fourth, topic areas considered suitable for use. Fifth, types of real-life situation relevant to the test takers. The next is the technical features of the test. First, the duration of the test. Second, the number of items in the test. Third, the number of items per section. Fourth, the item types. It can be multiple choice, matching ordering, or short responses, and etc. Fifth, the length of the text. Sixth, the format of the test. Seventh, the number of marks to give each item and the total marks. Eighth, the characteristics of rating scale. After the design phase, this ends in initial decisions or test specification draft, then the tryout will be administered. The next phase is tryout. The aim of this phase is to test the draft specifications and make improvements based on practically experience and suggestions from stakeholders. The information about the materials can be gathered in three ways. Those are piloting, consulting colleagues, and consulting other stakeholders. After the data of the piloting and consulting is gathered, the specification draft will be revised. The final test specification consists of characteristics pertaining to the structure or overall organization of the test. It describes how actual test tasks are to be constructed and how these tasks are to be arranged to form the test. The next explanation will be explained by my partner.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Binti Raifatusian and I will explaining to you about part C, the test use. The first is assembling test. The aim of the assembling test stage is to provide live test materials made according to the test specification. The process of assembling tests breaks down into three broad stages that are producing material, quality control, and constructing tests. In the stage of producing material, the item writers are asked to produce material which will be used in the live test. Once the material have been submitted, they must be checked for quality. This is done using expert judgment and by trying them out. When one or more changes are made to an item or task, it should be checked again to see if it is suitable. After the sufficient materials are available, tests can be constructed. The aim of this stage is to produce test forms to desired quality standard and according to the requirement of the test specification. And the next is delivering tasks. The aims of the delivering task process is to collect accurate and reliable information about the ability of each task taker. The task providers must ensure that. So the first is a task taker performance on the task is influenced as much as possible by their language, ability, and as little as possible by irrelevant factor. And the second is a test taker response and marks are collected efficiently and securely. Third is all test takers material arrive in the right place at the right name. And you can see in the PowerPoint the photo or the figure of delivering tasks. And the next is marking, grading, and reporting results. The aim of marking is to assess test takers' performance and provide an accurate and reliable mark for each. Grading aim to put each test taker into a meaningful category so that their test score can be easily interpreted. Reporting result is aimed to providing the test takers and stakeholders with the test result and any other information They need to use the results in an appropriate way. It can be used to make decisions about the test taker. The process of marking, grading, and reporting of results can be seen in the figure 5. And the last is monitoring and review. Monitoring is a part of the routine operation of producing and using the test information gathered from monitoring will be used to ensure that everything concerned with the current test form is on the track and what to change it is not. Furthermore, the same evidence can be used to appraise the performance of the process used, such as the item writing, editing, and marking. The review may be done after a certain regular period or after important changes to the circumstances of the test, such as the related syllabus changes. The offer cycle of the test development language field can be seen in the figure 6. And that's all from today our presentation. Thank you very much. We do hope that you enjoying our presentation and you get something from our video, and don't be hesitate if you have any question. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.